Colleagues, I rise today in reply to the speech from the throne. This is my inaugural speech. Thank you. As I said to Senators Harder and Cuzner, manage your expectations. The speech from the throne was quite some time ago, November 23rd, 2021, and that may seem like a significant amount of time, but judging by some of the responses that I've heard from senators across with response times to questions, it's probably not unreasonable. So let me start first. Let me start by offering my sincere thanks to the Senate administration. From stem to stern, the team here approached the entire onboarding, the entire process with clarity, patience, a true desire to help senators get off on the right foot and set them up to succeed. To all those involved and who continue to serve, I will always be grateful. Thank you so much. I guess I should also thank my staff, Archie and Sheldon, for their early work and being able to secure this prime slot speaking time, the last spot on Thursday afternoon. Way to go, guys. Honorable Senators, let me take a moment to address an issue that's probably overt and obvious, and in fact, it's been referred to several times in the chamber already. It is no secret, for the greater part of my life, I've been committed to and I have supported through the good times and the not so good times, and sometimes these times aren't so good, but regardless, I am proud to say that I am, as has been implied, a big L, capital L, Leafs fan. Thank you. I assure you, colleagues, my strong commitment to the Leafs will not preclude me from working across benches, working with Habs fans, Jets fans, Sens fans, all senators, to make sure we do the good work for Canadians. As for Bruins fans, no guarantees. Some of you may know I spent 19 years in the other place and hopefully have contributed to some degree to public good. As a proud Cape Brettoner, we held in high regard our political leaders. I think of Father Andy Hogan, a proud NDPer, Donnie McGuinness, progressive conservative and a great friend of the family, and of course, political icon in Nova Scotia, Alan J. McCacken. Alan J. served Canadians both in the Senate and in the other place. If I had been able to see the future, I would have asked him his thoughts on the difference between the two, and as I was under the impression that there would be far more commonalities, yet I've been struck by the differences between our two houses. I would liken this change to a busy construction site where a journeyman carpenter shows up on the job and is assigned the duties of a Red Seal electrician. The carpenter's obvious lack of understanding and his duties and the basic principles of electricity would probably come to him as a great shock. I will continue to listen and learn from my colleagues and to always try to find a way to contribute. So if I may, let me share with you this senator's early impressions of my new station. Know first that I'm absolutely impressed with the caliber of Canadians that I share the honor of serving with in this place. The intellectual horsepower, the passionate focus by so many on so many issues that are important to Canadians from all groups and a caucus, and are readily apparent and quite impressive. We have distinguished scholars, celebrated journalists, committed social activists, successful business leaders, accomplished advocates, all of whom have made notable and positive contributions. The Indigenous leaders in this place will continue to help chart the path to meaningful reconciliation and a stronger, more inclusive Canada. The more recent appointments process was reflected was reflected upon by the late Senator Hugh Segal, who served here from 2005 to 2015. He was a firm believer in the Senate and Senate reform. In 2018, as a reflection, he said, and I quote, "Good and able people were appointed under both structures. But today, gender, expertise, and occupational balance is much stronger, as is the openness to deliberative debate, not driven purely by partisanship." As noted by Senator Deakin, my colleague from Nova Scotia, in terms of diversity, of the 96 sitting senators, 82% are independent, 56% are female, 34% are Indigenous, Black, people of color, and LGBTQ2. Yeah. This chamber, my colleagues, represents Canada. So I have appreciated watching this talented body do its important work, like reviewing legislation, one of its primary responsibilities, and when deemed appropriate to offer amendments. All senators are aware there has been a striking increase in the number of amendments accepted by the other place in recent years. I recall the debate around Senator Cormier's amendment, Bill C-35, the Canada Early Learning and Childcare Bill. I noted the important intervention shared by Senators Cormier, Moody, Seidman, and many others, and in particular a very personal account made by Senator Poirier, who made strong interventions on behalf of French minorities, a group she felt had been overlooked or could have been overlooked by this legislation. The amendment which passed offered the example of the Senate fulfilling its constitutional duties. Of course, we know this chamber can initiate legislation as well. But before arriving here in the Senate, I obviously was not aware of the amount of legislation developed by individual senators, and really caught my attention. Many senators have invested considerable time and energy in the development of Senate public bills. These bills are important to the extent they provide the opportunity to advance discussions around a broad spectrum of important issues. Senator Pate's bill, S-233, has initiated a greater national discussion around a framework for the universal guaranteed basic income. Recently, Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, the Honourable Mark Miller, introduced Government Bill C-79, which was questioned yesterday by Senator Arnott, which addresses the issue of lost Canadians. I can only assume that Bill S-245, that was tabled by Senator Martin, provided some of the impetus to prompt this government to act on this issue. Currently, there are, by my account, 35 Senate public bills at various stages on the order paper, plus those being studied at committee. And indeed, some senators have achieved success in having their bills receive royal assent. However, in the many conversations that I've had with so many colleagues, there is a common thread, and it suggests that there's an issue with the number of Senate public bills. I offer no solution, but I do believe it's a discussion worth having. Perhaps we might find a better balance between the number of Senate public bills while not stifling the opportunity to shine light on important issues. Honourable Senators, I have always been of the belief that one of the true strengths of the Senate is the work done by committees. I recall a seminal report tabled in 2002 by the Social Affairs, Science, Technology and Standing Committee on health care in Canada, chaired by then Senator Michael Kirby. I remember sitting in caucus in the other place when the report came out, along with Senator Ringett and Senator Cordy. I can tell you, colleagues, while the report wasn't universally embraced, it did trigger, in my view, the government of the day to act. That Senate study was followed by the Romano report, which strongly advocated for major injection of federal funding by the government, which was subsequently materialized through 2 health accords in 2003 and 2004. There have been many studies since. Honourable Senators, central to the strength of the Senate committee is a very simple power. The power is in the question. I've been impressed that senators arrive at committee, they have their homework done, they are driven to ask delving questions to senior government officials, academics, representatives from various stakeholder groups. They play no favorites. In the other place, quite often, questions are posed in order to place their party's position in a better light. Senators here are motivated to find the truth so that the recommendations can be presented to best help Canadians. Likewise, I've been impressed with my two committees, Fisheries and Oceans and Transport and Communications. Fisheries and Oceans chaired by Senator Manning, an old friend, always fair, organized, collegial, respectful, and Chair of Transport, Senator Housakos. He's been great so far. But, colleague, that power is in the question that yields the success of the Senate's committees. Now, the power of the daily question period, I'm not so sold on. Madam Speaker and colleagues, make no mistake, I would in no way want to diminish the opportunity for the opposition to hold the government of the day to account. Never. However, colleagues, I will, if you allow me to pose this question, is the current format for Senate QP the best vehicle to do this? No. I watched Senator Gold, and I assume Senator Harder before him, try to reply to important questions that may arise as a result of anything. Something that may have happened in one of the 130 different federal departments, or in one of the 46 Crown corporations, or an action taken by any of the 450,000 federal employees. In the other place, besides the Prime Minister, there are 37 ministers that can answer those questions, along with 39 parliamentary secretaries, each having the benefit of ministerial staff, a team of departmental officials and communications professionals that brief them daily. Now, I have a world of respect for Senator Gold and his staff, but his challenge is daunting. It's like being handed a soup spoon while you stand beside the swimming pool at the Chateau Laurier and being asked to empty it. In contrast, having witnessed and taken part in several ministerial question periods in this chamber, I believe this format is much more productive and beneficial. Once again, the power of the question. That power yields far more accurate and informed responses. All senators who participate ask good, relevant questions, and in most cases, get good, pertinent answers immediately. Likewise, I am fully aware that the official opposition in the Senate has a limited number of procedural levers to pull in order to perform their duties, that is to say, hold the government to account. The current leader of the opposition has an obvious intimate relationship with each of these levers and is masterful at engaging them. He is tough, focused, and doing what he has to do to succeed. And what might appear to those of us newbies that in this place there may be a tremendous squandering of time and talent with all various procedural interruptions and delays, I will only say this: we shouldn't be too quick to judge. Should there be a change in government, and sometimes that happens, and an incoming government demonstrates an aggressive agenda that might cause concern to senators and to Canadians, it will be those same levers one might find themselves looking for. I still see this newly evolving Senate as a very worthwhile experiment with huge potential. However, should there be a change in government, don't be surprised if the experiment has a whole new team of lab instructors. That being said, I still believe so much could be done.
I have to interrupt you.
Yes.
But I believe that our senators could be asked for an additional 5 minutes to complete your speech.
Like 3 minutes? Or,
Do we have 3 minutes, honourable senators?
oh, better give us, yeah, give me 5.
5?
Yeah.
Let's make it 5. Honourable Senator.
Do I hear 7?
5.
Okay, that being said, I still believe very much in this institution. Again, colleagues, I want to reference Hugh Segal, who said about Senate reform, past appointments were largely driven by partisan directives from the parliamentary wings of the two old-line parties. He went on to say creating a mirror image in the upper chamber with the same divisions and tensions as the lower and elected House was not what the negotiators of Confederation had in mind. I'm sure Senator Segal would also believe that the recently adopted rule changes were a positive step for this place, and I tip my hat to those senators who have worked on this type of reform over the years. I'm also mindful of reform of the Senate does not mean that we ignore our traditions or our histories. Many men and women have come before us here. They were important actors in building the story of Canada. I say this because the history of this place and the history of the other place and generations of governments is sometimes best viewed through the lens of time. I acknowledge many Conservative governments, MacDonald, Diefenbaker, Mulroney, and others in between, Liberal governments, Laurier, Pearson, Trudeau, Chrétien, have helped shape this government. And to echo Senator O's comments of today, I believe we live in the greatest country in the world. So now that you have an appreciation for my limited understanding of this chamber, I have one concern that I do wish to share. And that has been growing and is shared by many people in the world of politics. In 2019, the clerk of the Privy Council, Michael Wernick, commented at the Justice Committee in the other place, and I quote, "I'm deeply concerned about my country right now and its politics where it's headed." Many Canadians have thought that this quote was a little bit odd at the time. I did not. I've witnessed through my time in politics a marked shift in political culture in this country. The increased toxicity in our political discourse is often cited as a major reason why good people are leaving and heading for the exits. This should worry us all. We need to understand that you can disagree with policies, but we need to respect those who have come forward to serve the public good. Ian Shugart said in this place just short of a year ago, "Honourable Senators, if it is what we say to or about each other, or how we learn again to listen and dialogue with others who don't share our outlook, or how we guard the health of our institutions, we need to relearn the virtue of restraint." Colleagues, I believe we have a healthy discourse in this chamber. We need to continue to provide leadership on this issue. We are charged with not only maintaining our institutions, but also leaving them in a better place upon our departure. Honourable Senators, in closing, I want to say I'm honoured to serve in this chamber with this collective of capable, caring, and committed senators. My time in politics has shown me that much can be achieved when people of goodwill work together to find solutions and to propose initiatives that support and help Canadians. Thank you, Madam.